What is up, my fellow creatures of the sea? My name's the Ocean Man, and oh boy, do I have a good story of entitled parents for you today. This is by far the most funny entitled parent story I've ever come across, so make sure to stay tuned. Even though it is quite long, it is very worth it. Little entitled crap eats crab in aquarium store, and mom defends him. Alright, boys and girls. This seems super unbelievable, but when you have been working in the pet trade as a sales associate for long enough in weird areas, you start to see your fair share of entitled kids and shit-stained parents. My first of many stories, so don't be too harsh. For context, I work at a mom-and-pop pet store in the eastern United States. And while my expertise is in aquatics, I try to be a jack of all trades. The day that this happened was rather uneventful until this point, all up until Little Shit, LS, and Pig PF entered the store. My store was pretty modest, so it was fairly easy to see customers come in and out, especially in the fish department, so I got my first look at this magnificent creature, a 40-something-year-old woman talking on her cell, her hair obviously dyed blonde, and outfit practically screaming midlife crisis, while her child was in tow. The kid must have been 7 or 8, the kid playing on his Switch, his shirt covered in what looked like a mixture of pizza sauce, soda, and plenty of mystery stains. And first, things were pretty normal. The kid originally not caring about anything in the store, while PF was getting enraged at him for not paying attention, though that changed rather fast. PF and LS were near the ferrets when PF took LS's Switch, immediately causing a reaction of screaming and pounding before being distracted by some of the fish over in my department. Alright, a bit of unnecessary information, but the way my store's fish department is set up is that 2/5 of it is freshwater, 2/5 is equipment, and the rest is saltwater. Given we weren't really known for the saltwater, we only kept pretty generic yet sought after fish like hippotangs, various clownfish, 6-line wrasses, etc. The thing about the first two is because of Finding Nemo, kids are always drawn to the Dories or Nemos. Alright, that all in mind, the first thing LS did was head over to the small assortment of hippotangs we had, practically pressing his shit-covered face against the glass as he yelled out, "Dory," as loud as he could. PF hailed me down from algae scrubbing, and this started the encounter. I like to act casual around the workplace as I find it lowers any sort of anxiety a customer has and makes me way more approachable. First thing out of my mouth was, "Hey there, how's your night going? Need help with something?" PF started our encounter with a roll of the eyes before pointing to the tank and demanding a price with a simple but rude, "How much for this thing?" was the way she said it was rude. After shifting gears from a casual standing to a more professional one, I simply told her the tang was $160. He was a good-sized tang. Of course she scoffed, but what came next was a bit more worrying. PF pulled out $30 from her purse and placed it on the desk we used to bag fish, saying in an aggravated tone, "That's all you're getting. Bag him." Things started to go poorly from here. It's worth noting that this is 9:15 at this point, and the store having closed 15 minutes ago, though we make it a policy not to ask customers to leave until 9:30. It was just my manager and myself at this point, my manager in the office closing down registers, so essentially it was I, the only employee in this store. Seeing PF placing the $30 on a table, I raised an eyebrow before leaning against the wall, simply asking her, "Do you have a saltwater tank?" She didn't take this well. She screamed without a second passing, "None of your business. Now bag my fish, you cocky little shit." I simply refused and slid her $30 back towards her before she slid it back, now more pissed off. "I'm going to get your ass fired if you don't bag my fish right now." At this, LS was getting pissed at the interaction, screaming like a banshee about how he wanted the tang, still referring to it as Dory and beginning to stomp his feet in a tantrum. Soon enough, I was asking them to leave. So this is where I messed up. I should have called the cops at this point, knowing that she was not going to leave without a fight. LS was on the floor at this point, pounding his fist to the floor as snot dripped down his face as PF tried to guilt me. "Sorry, sweetie. This guy does not want you to have the fish. He's perfectly fine with you having no fish friend to make you happy." At this point, she turned back to me. "Do you see what you did, you stupid boy? You are breaking my angel's heart because you're being too much of a Jew to sell me the fish." Internally, I was laughing. This kind of situation happened now and again, but the anti-Semitism was a new one. I had figured everything was starting to resolve at this point, though I was mistaken. LS flipped shit. You know how some opera singers can break glass with their voice? This kid would have a knack for something like that. Ellis was screaming as loud as humanly possible at this point as he managed to reach into the tank. At last, my manager had made his way out of the office and was watching what was going on. Ellis grabbed a piece of live rock, accidentally grabbing a long spine urchin. Angry screaming turned right to wails of pain as he pulled a rock out of the tank, a poor little pom-pom crab in tow. At this point, I was less focused on the kid, more focused on making sure my manager was calling 911, which he did. When I turned around, I saw something that still gives me nightmares to this day. The kid had been clutching his hand while his mother tried to help him, something hanging out of his mouth. The poor little pom-pom crab had been crushed by the kid, Ellis having shoved it into his mouth and chomping down on it, leaving a little claw hanging out of his mouth. The next 2 minutes was a strange combination of astonishment and panic, myself telling the kid not to move his hand since he would break the spines of the urchin, while PF began hitting me with her crappy purse, screaming that I hurt her kid. Your kid shoved his hand into a tank, went with toxic animals nonetheless, fox-faced rabbitfish, and did this to himself. Calm down and leave him alone so when the paramedics get here, they can get the spines out.
How dare you? You expect me to let my angel suffer? If you just sold me the stupid fish, this never would have happened.
Your kid reached into the tank and ate a crab. What did you do to teach this kid?
Don't you ever tell me how to raise my angel. He had the right to eat that crab. You took something from him, and he took something from you.
By the end of this interaction, the paramedics had arrived, restraining the kid and taking him into an ambulance as the police tried to sort things out. Unsurprisingly, PF tried to pin everything on me, saying I threw an urchin at him. What? And he ate the crab in a panic. Equally surprisingly, we had the entire thing on CCTV, including PF hitting me with her purse. Long story short, PF was arrested for aggravated assault, and apparently she had stuffed the rock into her bag to give it the extra punch. Didn't notice until after the paramedics told me that I was bleeding on my leg from the jagged live rock. After getting a statement, the cops left, PF and LS going off to wherever the cops took them, and I got out of everything with 8 stitches and a $300 bonus from my boss for handling the situation without anyone getting seriously injured. From what I ended up hearing, the kid actually got stung by the fox-face's dorsal spines. That sent him into a blind rage. The mom got a plea deal, and she ended up with a huge fine, some jail time, and some other shit. In summary, I didn't sell an EM a fish. Kid flipped shit, grabbed an urchin, and ate a crab. EM got arrested for assault. This was by far the worst situation I'd ever had in the store, and I still can't believe the outcome of this till this day. This was 3 years ago now. I was in work the other day when I saw a pounding kid over a mom not letting him get a hippo tank, and this is brought to the front of my mind ever since. Edit. At work at the moment, gonna try to figure out what happened for my boss later. Just noticed an inconsistency with the timeline. Switch wasn't out yet. I personally always remember it as a Switch, though given the circumstances there's a big chance that was an iPad or something similar in shape. Gonna leave this here just so everybody knows. Edit 2. So a lot of you guys have been asking about what happened to PF and LS. I had sat down with my boss this morning and asked about the events, and while I didn't get all the answers I was looking for, this is what he had to say. As I've stated, I still stay up now and again wondering what could make people act this way, and I did get a few answers. According to my boss, the woman PF was the wife of a known meth dealer, which didn't exactly surprise me given what happens in my town. The cops never had gotten a warrant to search their property for whatever reason, but this had given them the opportunity. From what he was told, the woman was abusing prescription antidepressants and drugs for ADD and had a meltdown. Although I pressed charges, I never was called to court, and from what we could assume, PF most likely struck a deal with the police to rat out her husband. I don't know the story with LS, though it wouldn't surprise me if he was on the same toxic cocktail of drugs. In regards to the CCTV footage, he had told me that he handed it over to the police and couldn't show me for legal reasons, but that there wasn't that much to show other than my manager running to the sales floor. The way our CCTV cams are placed only really show parts of the sales floor, the office, and the register counter. Medical bills was way easier. I've been on an expensive med not covered by most insurance for most of my life, so I've always had to pay out the ass for a really good insurance company, and this time it paid off. I ended up with a $100 charge for the ambulance, then my boss reimbursed me. Honestly, this was just a really surreal situation, and it has really confused me for a while, but I'm pretty happy I got things cleared up. Hopefully, PF is rotting in jail, and LS is getting the love and direction he should have been getting all along. Thank you everyone that stayed till the end of this story. This is by far one of the most funny entitled parent stories I've ever heard. Just the entire concept of a kid grabbing into an aquarium tank and eating the crab out of it. I usually don't laugh in these stories, but I just couldn't help it in this one. Anyway, thank you so much for watching. Please like and subscribe, and I'll see you in the next one.